welcome to episode 1 of this podcast. My name is Heather and this is Peacock Knits, a podcast about knitting, weaving, and some dyeing. I'm coming to you from Ottawa, Ontario in Canada. Today it's about -4 degrees Celsius with some freezing rain and some snow. So I hope wherever you are that it is a lot nicer. I wasn't going to do one of these podcasts because there are so many amazing podcasters out there and I wasn't sure I would have enough of interest to show you and share with you, but I figured what's one more podcast, and I'm going to be keeping these relatively short, around the half-hour mark, so hopefully you can squeeze me in here and there. Join me for some knitting, join me for coffee. I'm currently drinking, I think this is Kicking Horse. They're 454 horsepower. It's a dark. We usually order that one. It can be on the pricey side, so we were able to score a subscription on Amazon Prime. So now every month I just get coffee delivered to my door. That's pretty great. So some things about me. I live here in Ottawa with my husband Ryan and our 2 boys, Declan and Rowan. I'm currently on maternity leave with Rowan until July of this year, so I'm planning to enjoy every last minute that I have with him, and I figured what better time to have a podcast than when I have a napping baby and some natural light. I also have 2 little dogs, miniature schnauzers, Apollo and Sparta, and I'm hoping they don't cause too much of a ruckus during this podcast. Let's see, what else can I tell you? You know what? Let's just get started. One of the things I wanted to do in 2017 was to go through all my works in progress and to make some decisions about them. Am I going to frog it or finish it? So today, for my first episode, I have a little bit of a Stephen West themed frog it or finish it. So the first thing I finished as a finished object to show you is my Vertices Unite, and I could not be more happy with the way this turned out. I chose the large version. You can see it's big. It's basically a blanket. So you pick all your different color sections and you do a section at a time, and then you basically pick up those stitches and continue to work on the next section, and so on and so forth. And 2-color garter is not typically my favorite thing, but for this project I was just so excited about it and I've loved every second of making it. It took me all of 2017 to make it, not because it takes a year to knit, but because I use it as my social knit, my social project. So I'm a big social knitter. Whenever we have friends over, whether we're playing board games or just hanging out, I'm usually knitting. I hope that doesn't bother them. But at any rate, I know that many of you are also social knitters, but this was such a great social knit because it was just back and forth and I only had to keep track of increases and decreases. And I loved it. And I love the way it turned out. You'll start to notice throughout this podcast that a lot of my projects tend to lean towards the primary colors. So quite often I'll pick my colors in the red, blue, and yellow family. Sometimes it's something like this, which is a little richer. Sometimes it's more in the brights family, or I'll pick a turquoise with white with hints of gold and a red with more of a pink color. But I have to tell you that I was so thrilled about it. The only thing I can say that went wrong with this project was, first of all, I really wanted red for the piping, for the I-cord bind off. I really wanted red. So when I made my decisions about the different sections, I chose red. But the red is a Plucky Classics, I believe it's 50% wool, 50% silk. So it doesn't have as much stretch as the other yarns in this project, which I remember from actually knitting with it. But when I did the bind off, even though I tried to keep it fairly loose, it's a bit tight. You can kind of see it doesn't have a lot of give. So although it doesn't stretch as much as I would like, I will say that it does add a bit of extra structure to this shawl because with the garter, it's pretty stretchy for the most part. So this does help kind of keep the shape and prevent it from kind of looking warped or different when I'm wearing it. And but I just love it. I'm so happy with it. And the only challenge I'm currently having is how to style it. But for the most part, you know, it's pretty easy breezy. I'm kind of getting the hang of it. And I just won't spend this entire episode playing around with it. I'll just kind of just tie it up and get it done here. There we go. That's good. It's good for now. There. Ta-da! Right? Love this. I'm so excited about it. Now, for the frogging. I can't believe I'm going to frog it, but it's going to happen. So I love the pattern. I love my colors. I can't tell you why I'm not enjoying making it, but I'm not. So it pains me to say that I'm frogging my speckle and pop. Wah, wah, speckle and pop. I took my needles out. I haven't actually done the ripping yet. So I only got about 1/3 or maybe 40% through the first section. Now there were 4, clues, and I loved being part of the mystery knit along. It was so fun to be part of it. I don't regret casting it on. I loved casting it on. I loved picking my colors. I loved being a part of the mystery knit along community, both on Ravelry and on Instagram. I loved waiting for the next clue, and I love the way it looks, and I love everybody's shawls, and I loved it, but I got too far behind, and I'm just not enjoying it. See, so I'll show you my colors that I picked. I have La Bien-Aimée. This is, I believe it's pop grunge, or maybe it's grunge pop. It's kind of, it's got kind of a pinkish, purplish hue to it with all these bright pops in it. I love it. I love that yarn. I was on the hunt for it for the longest time. And then this one is Lichen and Lace in Baby Eggplant, which is a really great green and kind of an eggplant purple color. And then this one by Ocean by the Sea, which is a very creamy, cream and pink. Anyways, I loved my fade. I loved it. I think it would look really great all together. See? I love the way it looks, and you know what it is? I'm just not enjoying the pops. And it's not that I don't enjoy the color that I picked, because I'm pretty happy with the green, and I dyed these ones myself. I dyed a green gradient for my pops. So fun. So it's not that I'm not happy with my color choice, but I'm just not loving knitting it. So that's it. It's time to rip it out. So I'm gonna rip it out. I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna sit down tonight, and I'm just gonna start frogging, because you know what? Life's too short. And you know what? I loved my fade so much that I think I'm gonna keep the yarns together, and I'm gonna use them for something else. And I feel like the transition between the darkest color was a little too quick with the middle color, so I'm tempted to find something with a 4-color fade and find one more color to mix in there. I've had this in one of my greatest treasures here, which is my Madder Root. I love Madder Root, which is my Madder Root Deluxe Trundle. Look how big it is. Whoa! It easily holds a shawl. It easily holds a shawl or a sweater project. There's zero doubt about it. But you can use it as a purse. You can use it as whatever you want. And it has some beautiful pockets on the inside. All kinds of little pockets. And it has a clip on the inside. I have my little twill and print llama hanging out. And I love her bags because they're roll top. So you roll it. And I have another finished object to share with you. This one is something a little different. It's a little quirky. It's Sir Douglas Mawson's Balaclava. Oh, what? Isn't that hilarious? What a fun project. For those of you who don't know who he is a famous Australian from the early 1900s who is known for his expeditions in the Antarctic and his contributions to science from those expeditions. He was featured on the Australian $100 bill for 10 to 12 years. There he is, wearing his famous balaclava. And here's a photo of him and his expedition troop where he's wearing it. Now I saw this because it was featured in Vogue Knitting a couple of years ago, and I thought that that would be a fun thing to pick up. It was a lot harder to acquire though. The magazine just said that you could get it from the South Australian Museum, but when I contacted them, their online store was a little behind, and when their online store finally did launch a few months later, it wouldn't accept my international address, so it took quite a while for me to get it. But I finally got my hard copy and I couldn't be more thrilled. It's a very simple pattern. Essentially, I'm not going to give you the whole pattern, but it's kind of a basic balaclava in a 7x7 rib. And what they had done is they have the original balaclava that he wore. And so the museum teamed up with Art Lab Australia to take a look at it, dissect the pattern, and write it up. So that's what I did. My husband's going ice fishing next weekend, and I told him I would have it finished just in time. The original one was, the figure was knit from odds and ends by his wife, and the way it's knit up, it seems to have a whole lot of what was probably just extra yarn from her stash. So true to that pattern, that's what I did. I dove into my stash and I pulled out some basic wool. I don't normally show finished objects when they're still blocking, especially not like this, but for this pattern, because of the ribbing, I really wanted it to be blocked. I'm going to show it to you today anyway. Ta-da! It's done! It's done. I didn't have enough black to do the whole thing, I knew that, so I did the bottom in black, then I did a little bit of a kind of a fade there for him into the gray, and then it finished off with the gray. That's fun. It was such a fast knit, very easy. The one thing I will say is it's a mystery to me, is the way it's written. The way it's written, and if you look at the original here, you'll see that the crown is stockinette. So it stops here, the crown is stockinette. That's how it shows it in the picture of the replica. That's how it shows it the model wearing the hat, and that's how it's written. But in the original photo, you can see that the crown is garter, or that he's wearing it inside out, or is it that the pattern calls for it to be written this way, with the stockinette on the inside, which might be more comfortable for him to wear. And when it was taken apart, we just assumed that it would be stockinette. So, mystery, because I'm telling you, look at the picture. And then look at the finished. And you can plainly see that he has for the ribbing, he's got the stockinette portion of the ribbing center to the face, but as it's written, that's not what you have. So send me a message, leave me a comment. Do you know the answer? Which is the correct way to wear it, as he has it on or as it's written and as they've done the fixing upping of it, restoring. So there we go. We've got finished objects. Oh, I have a work in progress. I'm making the monkey socks. These are free pattern from Knitty 2006 by Cookie A. Getting some glare there, so I'll see if I can show you. But what's neat about them is she's also released or noted that you can knit this as a no purl monkey sock. So you take the same pattern and you just substitute all the knits or all the purls for knits, and it creates a slightly different fabric. But what ends up happening is that the sock ends up having just straight knit for almost every second row, if not longer, more than that. So what ends up happening is it goes so fast and you get a really neat fabric. I'm making this out of Joma. I'm making this out of Joma melty crayons. What, the color is just bonkers. I will say that this yarn obscures the pattern a little bit, so we'll see if you can really make it out. It's pretty hard to see the pattern, to be honest, even when you're right here. But it does kind of add a bit of extra visual interest to it, and I'm gonna knit this again on a solid color. But it's been so much fun. It does add a little bit of laciness to it, and I put a contrasting purple. This is Knit Picks Hawthorn, so it does have a bit of a contrasting. But this Joma Melty Crayons is hilarious. I love the colors. I love how every stitch, I'm not sure what color I'm going to end up on. So although it doesn't have a self-striping, it has the same kind of just one more row approach, because every single stitch, I'm not sure what color it's going to be. And for my socks, I always use an Old Norwegian cast on. It makes a really nice little ridge along the top and a very stretchy rib. I love this rib. It takes a little bit longer to cast on, the Old Norwegian, but I will say that I've been overall very happy with the longevity of the stretch in my ribbing. So I did it calls for a 64 stitch pattern, but then for the foot I prefer a 60 stitch, so that's what I did. I've narrowed it down to 60 stitches for the foot, and I am just so stoked to wear them. And I'm keeping this one in my Madder Root regular trundle. Boop. Look at the bees! Look at the bees. Kills me. And same as the deluxe, you roll it to close it, and then you just snap. And on this one, I have my Punky Pins resting stitch face. Killed me. So that's my work in progress, and I'll show you a couple of stash enhancements, and then we'll leave it at that for today. So one of the things that I really wanted to do was I enjoyed making my Christmas socks this year so much more than I thought I would. It was my first time knitting myself a pair of Christmas socks. I've knit myself lots of socks before, but it's my first time knitting a pair of Christmas specific socks, or Christmassy socks, or holiday socks. And I really wanted this yarn, which I won in a giveaway. I was so excited. So these are the Cozy Knitter. This is the Cozy Knitter, and these are my Gingerbread House colorway socks. And it's on, I can't remember the name of the base, but it's a gold stellina base. Oh my god, I love it. So I love these socks, and I know Christmas is over. Happy New Year. But I just can't put these away. So anyways, I got super excited, and I bought myself some Christmas yarn for next year to get started. So the first thing I bought was some West Yorkshire spinners. I bought actually 2 of their Christmas colorways from this year for next year. I bought the Candy Cane colorway, which is in the mail and on the way. This is Holly Berry. I love it. So love this color. It's kind of, it's got the classic red, green, and white, but it's kind of also got a bit of pink. I really, really like it. So I can either use red for the contrasting heels and toes, or I can use cream. I don't know. We'll find out next year what I pick. I have everything on my Yarn Swift here, which is a fun way to put it all on. Then I'd been eyeing this all season, and I finally splurged. This is from Fiber Art Studio. And this is called, it's their Christmas yarn. It's called Candy Cane. It's a 75/25 hand dyed by Eureka. And the way this knits up is it's kind of got, the majority of the sock is red. I'll undo this so I can show you. The majority of the sock ends up being red, but then there's kind of this spiral stripe that ends up going through your sock. in this amazing, with these amazing colors, which are kind of just like little, it looks like a little string of Christmas lights. Or it looks like a candy cane, and then the stripe is kind of this, a beautiful multicolored. Again, I'm telling you, the kind of play on primary color that shows up on a lot of the things that I end up procuring. But isn't that amazing? I love it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to knit it. But I have to wait till Christmas of next year, or at least till November to get myself started, because I want to knit all 3 pairs of socks for Christmas. So we'll see if it happens. But I won this from Backyard Fiberworks during their Christmas giveaways. I was really lucky on the giveaway front in 2017. And to be honest, I don't enter that many giveaways. I only really enter the ones that I'm really excited about. And there are a lot of giveaways, but I don't just enter every single one. But this one, I saw it and I've been entering because they had such beautiful things, and I was so lucky to win it. So these are my babies. I won these 2 skeins. They're Backyard Fiberworks on their Meadow Light base, which is merino nylon cashmere mix. You can see it has a beautiful little bit of a halo to it. Let's see if that shows up. And so I won 1 skein of natural and 1 skein of rainwater. And it's so soft. And it came with this beautiful, I have been eyeing these, pink waffle bag. I love the little closure. It just closes through a little loop like that. So you can carry it on your wrist or just grab onto it. And the best thing about them is that they are reversible, completely reversible. So you can choose which side you like, which side suits the yarn that you have in it. If you want to see owls, if you just want a pop of owls. It's just adorable. And this in fabric is like a really neat kind of a twill. It's kind of like a light, almost like a light canvas. And it doesn't appear to have too much interfacing in it. It's just a very nice kind of lightweight canvas. So I've been really thrilled. And it came with the pattern. I'll just pull it up for you. It came with a pattern for some beautiful mittens. They're the Winterland mittens by Wenche Rolled. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but let me just show you. There's these beautiful colorwork mittens, very Christmassy, very holiday-ish, very wintry. It's a very wintry scene. Look at the cuffs. But my favorite part of this pattern is actually the palms. Look at that. I love the little stars, and I really love everything about it, actually. So I was really thrilled. I was really thrilled to win this giveaway, and I was really thrilled to get the pattern with it. And it was just so generous. So thank you, Backyard Fiberworks. I think that's it. I think that's it for this first episode. So you know what? I told you I was going to keep it short, which I will. And next week I'll have something new for you. And I hope you enjoyed having a coffee with me. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the things that I've been working on. And I hope to see some more of you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.